Hey, this is Kevin, aka Crankinstein. I've got a bunch of shallow to medium runner crankbaits here, and we're going to talk about what separates them in terms of price and also in the way they're shaped, different rattles, and things like that. So, if you're looking to learn a little bit more about crankbaits, um, definitely follow along here, and I'm going to name out the brands and the price point on it too. So if you're, you can figure out what you're looking for. This is kind of our cheapest tier, and then this is kind of in the middle, and then up here is kind of your top of the line, your most expensive. And they go all the way from the Strike King KVD 1.0, about $5 bait, all the way up to this Mega Bass Cyclone, which is a $20 bait. So we're gonna see what it takes to get from that to something like that. So, and also if it's worth it to you, because all these baits catch fish. So starting with the KVD 1.0, I really like some of the Strike King colors. This Chrome Sexy Shad is a really awesome color. That's my favorite color. I like chrome. As you can tell by looking at that, that's another chrome colored bait that really took some abuse because I fished it to death. But anyway, the KVD 1.0, you're looking at about a $5 price point. This is a square bill. They make it in bigger sizes. They make it from the 1.0 to a 1.5 to a 2. I think there might even be a 2.5. They make a bunch of them. But anyway, this is a standard small little square bill. The hooks aren't the sharpest, but you're talking about a $5 bait. It's got nice action, and they do have a bunch of colors, so that's definitely a plus. Not all these baits come in tons of colors. So let's move up here. Rapala DT Fat. We've got DT4 and a DT6. These are balsa, so they're made out of balsa. So one of the advantages to that is it's very fast floating. So this DT Fat, it's very wide wobble. You're going to be deflecting cover with this. When you run into snags, you just let some slack in the line. This thing will float right up. That's an advantage it has over plastic. However, plastic is more durable. So there's trade-offs to every design. And one thing to look at when you're fishing is just kind of the overall shape of it. This bill is not a square bill. This one is. They deflect differently off a cover. There's lots of different things that make them different that if you're looking to fish crankbaits, you want to experiment with. And another thing is the shape. So here we have this Pro Little John MD. First thing you notice, it's a flat bait. That's completely different than something like this DT Fat, this big wide body. So this is going to change the action. This is going to have a very tight wobble. That's a very wide wobble. And then this is, you can tell by the lip, this is a little bit deeper. This is a medium runner. And most crankbaits still tell you, they have a diving depth of, 6 to 8 feet or, something like that. The majority of them do not go as deep as they say they do. That's just kind of standard for most of them. The only ones that really hit their exact depth is this DT series, which stands for Dives 2, and they're pretty good about hitting their mark. But most of these others, if you're looking at that spectrum, if they say it goes 6 to 8 feet, it's probably going to be closer to 6 feet. So that's something to keep in mind. And of course, fluorocarbon versus mono versus braid, and how strong the line is. Lighter line is going to let you go a little deeper, so that can come into effect as well. And this is, kind of your medium tier price point. These are about $10. And you're getting a stronger hook. These have Gamakatsu hooks. You can tell the paint schemes, the eyes, they're a little more intricate than what you'd be getting with like a Strike King. Up here we've got, this is an Excite Baits XB1. Classic square bill. You notice it's got a raised gill plate, a little bit of scale etching. You notice, you look at the Strike King, completely smooth. So the baits are getting a little more lifelike as the price point goes up, and this is about a, I think about a $7 or $8 bait, and you hear that, that's a weight transfer system. This is going to let you cast it a lot further. When you're casting, you know, that weight's going to shift to the back, make it a lot easier. You know, this is, again, something that comes along with the little more expensive bait. And up here we got the Lucky Strike Rick Klein series. These are pretty affordable. These are about $7. This is a good natural color. You know, again, we talk about the colors. Just simple rule of thumb: bright colors for, you know, murky or stained water. You want your natural colors for clear water. This is one of my favorite little baits. This is a Freak Junior. That is one of the craziest lip designs I've seen. It's a deep diving square bill, so it can go a lot deeper. You know, generally your square bills, they're like this DT Fat 3. You know, 3 feet's really, you know, that's about it for them. But to have that square bill to dive deeper, and again, the square bill, it's all about the deflection when it, you know, when it's bouncing off of stuff that makes it, you know, makes it a good type of crankbait design. Because the bass is gonna hit that bait when it comes through and deflects off of something. That's what's gonna trigger most of the strikes. So let's move on here. Now we're into the top of the line, I guess you could say, tier. This is a Lucky Craft. This is the deep rattle sound. Lucky Craft makes a lot of colors. One thing that's pretty nice about them. And this, you know, I forgot to mention, some of these have different types of rattles. This is a one knocker style rattle. And you've also got silent, just your traditional rattle with kind of like little BBs kind of rolling around in there. So you got some, you know, some things to think about as far as that goes. But when you're paying, you know, most of these Lucky Crafts are going to be, you know, closer to that $15 mark. You know, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on where you get it from. But, you know, you've got the 3D-ized etched scale plate, and then you see, you know, the way the colors is, it's actually like it has little scales almost on there that are reflecting. So, again, you're paying extra for that. And another thing, you'll see that some of these baits have that circuit board style lip. This is a Jackal Aska. Very cool bait. And that lip is virtually indestructible. So, again, you're paying more, but the bait, you know, and this is a silent runner. This is basically the very expensive version of the 1.0. So, you can tell the eyes look more realistic. These hooks are ridiculously sharp, you know, so there's no swapping out of the hooks once you get up into this price point. And then, of course, the colors are much more intricate. And that leads us all the way up to this guy. This is the Megabass Cyclone. You can tell very realistic eyes. You know, the paint schemes are just, you know, very, very detailed. You know, there's other little features at work here. Megabass, they've got this little water intake system up in there. Then you see it has this little, you know, it's kind of what they call it, the cyclone, where water is flowing through there. And what that does is just give this bait a really unique type of action in the water. And of course, premium hooks. You know, this is a $20 bait, so this is what you're getting at that price point. And you have to decide for yourself, you know, where on this, you know, list of baits you want to go. You know, there's trade-offs. You know, with these 1.0s, you know, you can buy 4 of them for the price of 1 of these Megabass. So, but you know, then you have to worry about trading out the hooks. So there's different trade-offs. You know, for me personally, I usually end up around this middle mark. You know, I use these Spro Little John mediums probably the most of any bait out here. You can tell by the wear on it, but you know, they're about $10. They've got good hooks on them. They've got a wide variety of colors. You know, that's something I'm looking for, and I can buy a bunch of them. So if I lose one or something happens, it's not that big of a deal. but they all have their place. You know, sometimes you want to show the bass something that it's never seen before, you know, a type of action or, you know, presentation that it's not used to looking at. So, you know, the lures like this do have a place, but, you know, there's, you know, plenty of room for, you know, I like to throw these cheaper ones when I'm fishing from shore and I'm not in a boat. That way if I get snagged up and I lose it, it's not a big deal, you know, and you can tell, you know, there's a place for all of these in your tackle box. And that's pretty much it. Check out bassresource.com.